In the headlines, National Industrial Court orders ASU to return to classroom. Kano Magistrate Court remands Chinese lover gang fixes arraignment for October 18th. Senate confirms Justice Olukayode Ariola as Chief Justice of Nigeria. And on the foreign scene, roadside bomb kills police officer, injures 3 others in Thailand. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. The National Industrial Court, sitting in Abuja on Wednesday, orders striking university lecturers in the country to shelve their strike and return to classrooms due to importance of education in national development. The order is contained in the ruling of Justice Polycarp Hammam on the interlocutory application by the federal government seeking to end the 7-month industrial action embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, to press home its demands for better working conditions. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
Counsels to the parties had earlier made submissions on interlocutory application seeking to halt the protracted strike that shut down the nation's universities for 7 months. Ruling on the application, Justice Polycarp Hammam upheld the applicant's position, asking the striking lecturers to end the action due to the importance of education in national life, relying on relevant provisions of the law. Parties responded to the ruling, which counsel to ASU, Edoje Ejo, says will be examined to explore available options.
What the court did was to agree with us that an interlocutory injunction has to be granted against the Academic Staff Union of Universities, their agents, privies, or whatever name they are described, from continuing with the strike, pending the hearing and determination of the substantive suit. That's in accordance with rule of law.
Well, the judgment has come. It has come. The court has ruled that members of ASU are restrained from continuing the strike action and that they should return back to the classrooms pending the determination of the substantive suit. As per the next action, there are quite a number of options open to the union. We will study the ruling with the legal team, and then we will adopt the most appropriate option.
National Association of Nigerian Students NANS president and his team, who observed proceedings, were elated by the court decision, but asked federal government to fulfill its promises to the aggrieved lecturers.
We are actually happy that the court made its ruling that ASU should suspend the strike and go back to class. That's what we have been agitating. But on this note, we want to call on the government to fulfill its own part.
The vacation judge, Justice Polycarp Hammam, returned the case to the Chief Judge of the Federation for reassignment as he resumes his leave. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, the Kaduna State government said it will not allow the blockage of the Kaduna-Abuja road by the National Association of Nigerian Students in its protests in the state against the prolonged strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities. The Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, said in a statement issued in Kaduna that the move was unacceptable and a prelude to the breakdown of law and order. The Commissioner therefore said individuals, unions and other groups should take note of the advisory and keep off the road. Students of public universities in Nigeria are embarking on protests at strategic locations to ground activities in their attempt to pressure the government to meet ASU's demand to suspend 6-month lock on Nigerian universities. And a magistrate court sitting in Kano has ordered the remand of a Chinese national, Geng Quanrong, accused of killing his Nigerian girlfriend, Kulsum Sani Buhari. The court ordered that the accused person be remanded in Kurmawa Medium Security Custodial Center. The order of the court followed the arraignment of the accused person before the court by the police on the charge of culpable homicide, contrary to Section 221 of the Penal Code. However, the magistrate, Hanif Sanusi Chiroma, held that the court lacked the jurisdiction to entertain the case. Prosecution counsel Khalifa Awal Hashim thereafter appealed to the court to return the accused to a custodial facility since it had no jurisdiction pending the legal advice from the Kano State Ministry of Justice. Geng is being accused of trespassing and murdering 23-year-old Kulsum Buhari. The deceased and the accused were said to have been dating before the relationship turned sour. And the Senate has confirmed Justice Olukayode Ariola as the substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria. Justice Ariola was confirmed after responding to a few questions from lawmakers on the floor of the Senate. He has been acting as the Chief Justice following the retirement of his predecessor, Justice Tanko Muhammad. Justice Muhammad resigned on health grounds on Monday, June 27, 2022. And to politics now, where the camp of Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has officially pulled out from participating in the PDP presidential campaign of Atiku Abubakar in the 2023 election. The group made its position known at a marathon meeting in the early hours of Wednesday at Wike's private residence in Port Harcourt. The group's position, which was announced by Olabode George, said it will not participate in whatever capacity in the campaign council unless the national chairman of the PDP, Dr. Iyorchia Ayu, resigns his position. Those that participated at the meeting were Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, Olusegun Mimiko, former governor of Ondo State, Donald Duke, the former governor of Cross River State, Ayo Fayese, the former governor of Ekiti State, Jonah Jang, the former governor of Plateau State, Mohammed Adoke, former Attorney General of the Federation, Olabode George, Jerry Gana, former Minister Chibodum Uwochi, and Deputy Speaker of House of Representatives, Senator Suleiman Nazif and Nnenna Ukeje. And the Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has reserved till September 26th for hearing on an application and originating summons in a suit instituted by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, against the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and National Assembly candidates of the All Progressive Congress, APC, in Rivers State. When the matter was brought to court, the presiding judge, Justice Stephen Dialop Pam, after receiving applications from the defendants asking him to recuse himself from the case, adjourned till September 26th for a definite hearing on all applications, including the originating summons.
Speaking outside the courtroom, Ezemoye Amadi, who appeared for himself as the 12th defendant and the APC candidate for Ikwere Federal Constituency, alleged that the judge refused to allow him to address the court, as was advised by the administrative judge, adding that the judge rather preferred to hear all applications at an adjourned date.
Today, I tried to prevail on the presiding judge to allow me, in obedience to the directive of the administrative judge, to allow me to present my application before him so that he can make a pronouncement on my application. And once again, he refused. I also want to put on record that everything that I said in court there, the judge refused to record me. At this point in time, I can tell you, tension is beginning to build up. And if anything goes wrong, I want to be quoted, if anything goes wrong, then Justice Pam must be held responsible.
One of the counsels for the People's Democratic Party, DK Udenna, described the defendants as being jumpy about the case, noting that the courts cannot entertain the motions because the defendants filed their applications and served on parties the same day.
Section 285 of the 1999 Constitution also makes it clear that all objections should be taken along with the substantive case in matters of this nature, that is, in election and in pre-election matters. So it is on the basis of those provisions that the Learned Trial Court had directed, consistent with the constitutional provision, that all the applications will be taken together. If he agrees that good reasons have been given why he should recuse himself, then of course, naturally, it will end and the matter will be sent away.
Most of the applications had not been served on parties, and the presiding judge felt that it was not ripe for hearing and decided to adjourn the matter to the 26th of September, wherein all parties would have been served with the processes. But held that he's going to hear the applications for recusal and the substantive matter that is originating summons of PDP all together. And that was what caused some stir from some of the candidates who were in court.
The 12 defendants, Ezemoye, Amadi, and others said they do not have confidence in any pronouncement that Justice Pam will make, adding that his ruling on hearing all applications in one day is like airing the matter from the back door.
And now to matters of security, where the police in Katsina say operatives have burst a syndicate of armed robbers and housebreakers that also specialized in motorcycle theft in Daura town. The syndicate has been terrorizing residents of Daura town in recent times. Abdullahi Amadi completes the report.
Members of the syndicate are suspected of breaking into houses and dispossessing residents of Daura of their phones, monies and motorcycles, as well as other valuables. The suspected robbers confessed to committing the offense but plead with police to temper justice with mercy. The police operatives said the suspects are helping them with relevant information that will lead to arrest of remaining 2 members of the syndicate now at large.
In the field, they know this. This is what they call cross. They use it in breaking this one, a motor vehicle, motorcycle, whatever type of key you have, this one has the capacity of opening it. It's a very dangerous weapon. They call it cross. So many keys. These are master keys used in house implement, house breaking implement. You can see this. Yes. And they have also a cutlass that they can use in committing their nefarious activities. They have confessed to the commission of the offense. There are 2 persons, their own mastermind, that is the leader of the gang, is also at large. We are looking for him, and we are making efforts to go and arrest the ritualist that is assisting them in committing this crime. Investigation is ongoing into this case.
The suspected criminals used charms they claimed to have obtained from a ritualist in Niger Republic to make their victims fall asleep until they finish committing their nefarious offenses. Similarly, dangerous house-breaking implements such as pinches, locally fabricated keys, charms and phones were recovered from the suspected criminals. I now realized that there are a lot of implications and consequences of engaging into criminalities. This kind of tendencies are bad, and I'm now regretting my acts. We have been in these negative tendencies for long, but on reaching Daura, I felt it within myself that Nemesis is catching up with us. When we were chased by residents at a particular house in Daura, we ran into a police station. That was the beginning of our problem. The police is saying that the suspected robbers will be taken to court for prosecution after investigation. Abdullahi Ismail Amadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. And still to come on the news. How rising cost of living is taking a toll on Benue residents. Details of this and more after the break. Stay with us.
That's great. Good to see you.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now let's recap our top stories. National Industrial Court orders ASUU to call off strike. And Kano Magistrate Court remands Chinese lover, fixes arraignment for October 13th. Now, in other news, the Nigerian Cardiac Society says 1 out of every 100 women develops heart failure after pregnancy in the northwest and northeastern parts of Nigeria. The society disclosed this at a pre-conference briefing in Abuja. Cardiovascular disease is a type of disease that affects the heart or blood vessels. The risk of certain cardiovascular diseases may be increased by smoking, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, unhealthy diet, lack of exercise, and obesity. Noel Sampson has the rest of the story.
The media interaction is part of activities marking the 51st Scientific Conference of the Society themed Cardiovascular Disease, from prevention to surgical care, progress graph, and perspectives. According to the Society, in Nigeria alone, 33% of the adult population has hypertension, which is one of the causes of the heart diseases.
Number 1 is high blood pressure. Number 2 are what we call heart muscle disease. Number 3 are diseases we call the rheumatic heart disease. And number 4 is what we call heart muscle disease that developing after a woman has become pregnant. And number 5, I'll stop at number 5 and we'll go through them one by one. There are other things, but at least these are the major causes. The last one is what you call heart attack. A lot of adult Nigerians, meaning that if you screen us in this room, many of us will have high blood pressure. And many, even those who have high blood pressure, 1/3 of us don't even know we have high blood pressure. And 1/3 of those who have high blood pressure are not even on treatment. And 1/3 of those who are on treatment are not even under control. So that's a big problem.
Oga also stated the ratio of cardiologists to Nigeria is 1 to 10,000 persons, a situation described as dangerous for the country, and called for concerted effort to arrest the mass exodus of medical workers out of the country.
A lot of people are jetting out today. We all know about the migration of health workers in this country. So meaning that if nothing is done, it's going to be worse in the near future.
Cardiovascular disease, experts say, is a silent killer which should be handled by preventing it. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And floods have destroyed rice farms and other crops, as well as schools across 17 riverine communities in Umaisha Development Area of Tutu Local Government Area of Nasarawa State, following a heavy downpour in the area. Houses, livestock and health centers have also been submerged by the flood across some affected riverine communities in the area. The village chief of Igi community, who is also the chief of the village chief of Igi Riverine Community, who is also the chairman of village chiefs in the area, Abdullahi Ibrahim, told our reporter on Wednesday that the flood followed downpour between Monday night to Tuesday morning. He also attributed the heavy flood to overflow of the River Niger and Benue, adding that some valuables such as electronics, mattresses and other household items were destroyed by the flood. And the Anambra State government has warned residents against indiscriminate disposal of waste, stressing that anybody caught by the law will face the full wrath of the law. Managing Director, Anambra State Waste Management Agency, Mike Eziomena, made the warning while speaking with journalists in Awka, the Anambra State capital. He said the era of improper waste disposal in the state had gone, and the government will not take it lightly with anybody violating its law, rules and regulations put in place to protect the environment. He said the waste should be collected, separated at source and kept for collection by house-to-house waste managers. The system of open collection and dumping has been abolished. Also, keeping waste on the major roads is now prohibited.
The governor has directed. For us, We are ready and willing, but we also know we can't do it without the cooperation of our people. This indiscriminate dumping is something that should stop. Tie your waist. Buy out by bin. Go to the market and buy bin if you can't even buy from us. We are not desperate about selling to you. We are desperate about you having your bin. So go to the market and buy it. If it's cheap, they are fine. But what we are saying is that everybody, every shop, every household should have a waste bin. And the contractor will be coming to their areas. And then everybody brings out his or her waste, for his area. So that the contractor will pick it and deliver it to the dump site. That's the way it goes. That's why it works everywhere. It's not when you have a polythene bag, you just fling it to the street. No. You keep your refuse. Everybody should have a bin, which we are going to enforce.
And as political parties begin campaigns to usher in leaders in 2023 on the 20th of September, residents of Makurdi are more worried about the prices of goods and services. They are concerned that the worst may happen if there is no immediate solution to cut down the prices of goods and services in the country. The report.
Some residents who spoke to Trust TV are emphatic that paying bills for their families is getting tougher by the day. They say with the resumption of schools, some parents cannot figure out the next step for their wards.
Almost every good in the market has added, and all that has been transferred to the parents to bear the burden. And that is to say, our salaries are not increased, but the bills keeps increasing. It's a very, very difficult one. But how will we do? So we are managing to scrape whatever we are able to scrape and then pay as much as we can.
Makurdi-based economist and financial analyst says Nigeria has never had it this bad. He blames the high cost of goods and services on poor management of the economy.
When we were talking about inflation, we were referring to the general and the persistent and consistent increase in the general prices of goods and services in an economy. And it can be caused by so many factors. But the most prominent ones that we know are demand pull and cost push. When we're talking about demand pull, we're talking about in a situation where the demand for commodities is higher than the supply of those commodities. And in that case, prices of those commodities tend to have to go high.
He also proffers solutions for the present economic situation.
We have two policies, major macroeconomic policies that are used in controlling inflation. We have fiscal policy and monetary policy. Fiscal policy has to do with government's taxes, revenues, and expenditure. If the government decides to control inflation using fiscal policy, they increase taxes on goods and services or personal income tax. And by doing that, the monies that are left in the hands of spenders is not much. And so they repeat down their spending.
Some residents of Makurdi, however, say the way out is to exercise their franchise in the 2023 elections. They queried those who failed to participate at elections but blame leaders for their failure.
Let us come out, because if we don't come out to vote in 2023, we are still going to be crying over the leadership and the economic situation of our country.
According to statistics on the website of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the inflation rate is at over 20%, the highest this country has ever had.
And now for a look at the foreign scene, where a Thai policeman was killed and 4 others injured when a roadside bomb detonated as their vehicles passed near a hospital in southern Thailand. A police motorcycle and a patrol truck were traveling together when both were hit by the blast in front of a hospital. The explosion killed an officer on a motorcycle and caused the police truck to veer off-road before crashing into an electrical pole. 3 officers in the truck were rushed to the hospital for treatment. Police believe the bomb was planted in a rubbish bin in front of the hospital and that it was detonated remotely. TV footage on Wednesday showed damage to the Mai Khin Hospital exterior and a shrapnel hole in the Mai Khin Kittiwit School, which was located opposite the hospital. The school was ordered to close for the day. Explosive ordnance disposal officers sealed off the area and combed nearby streets for evidence. And in sports, Russia will not take part in the draw for the qualifying of Euro 2024. UEFA and the country's football federation confirmed this on Tuesday. The Russian national team and Russian clubs were banned from international competitions earlier this year by UEFA following the invasion of Ukraine. Russia saw an appeal against the ban rejected by CAS in July. Russians were also banned from the upcoming World Cup in Qatar by FIFA. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.